What's up, guys? It is your boy Chris, the NBA lover, back again with the fourth podcast of the day. Wasn't expecting to do this, but it had to happen, and I'm back again with my cousin Michael. He's gonna be making a few opinions on some of the records that I am. Well, I'll tell you about it. He's gonna be stating a few opinions throughout this video, and this podcast is going to be about what I think the future records of the teams after the draft and their offseason moves as of right now, what their record is going to be for the next season. And I'll be stating their record for this past season and stating the record that I believe they're going to have this season. Michael has a few teams on his mind that he wants to talk about, and he's going to let me handle the rest. Maybe he's going to put a few opinions out through the rest of the video. But we are going to start off with the Toronto Raptors, who recently fired Dwayne Casey. Just some news. If you want to hear more about that type of news, go check out our last podcast. But their 2017-2018 record was 59-23, number one in the Eastern Conference. Wasn't that bad, but I believe they really didn't make really any good moves in the draft this year. I don't think they had a pick, or they could have had one, and I don't know who they picked. But I believe they're gonna have the near same record. I feel like they're just going to lose a few more games. Their record was 59-23, 2017-2018, and I believe that their 2018-2019 record is going to be 56-26. Three wins less than what the record was this past year.
Well, I think Toronto's record is going to be 60-22.
So you believe they're going to get better?
I think they're going to get better as the season goes on. I have faith in Toronto that they can step up and do what they have to do to win.
That's nice. And we're going to move on to the second seed. That was the second seed in the playoffs this year, the Eastern Conference. The Boston Celtics, whose 2017-2018 record was 55-27. I believe the only reason why Boston lost a lot of their games is because they lost their two big stars throughout the whole entire season. So it really hurt their record overall, but I believe they're going to have a totally better record. I said they are going to be, their 2017-2018 record was 55-27. I say they're going to be 62-20 this year. They're going to be the best team in the Eastern Conference this year. Overall, they have Kyrie Irving, Gordon Hayward, and Jason Tatum as their big three. They're going to be a great team, plus they have Al Horford at the 5 and have Marcus Morris at the 4. This team's going to be magnificent. You got to keep your eyes out for these Boston Celtics. Do you have any opinions on the Boston Celtics, Michael?
So, I think the Boston Celtics are going to be 56-26. So, they're going to be a decent.
They're going to be a one win better. Mr. Michaels, he's trying to throw Boston under the bus, but we're going to move on to Philadelphia, the third seed in this latest playoff run for the Philadelphia 76ers. They played very good throughout the regular season. Their 2017-2018 record was 52-30. My record that I believe they're going to have next year is going to be somewhat the same. But I said their record is going to be a loss, one more loss than they had this past year. They were 52-30. I say they're going to be 51-31 this year. In this next upcoming season, Mr. Michael, do you have any opinions on the Philadelphia 76ers?
Well, I think the 76ers are also going to be 52-30. I think they're going to be in the same.
You think they're going to have the same exact record?
Same exact record.
Why do you think that?
I just don't think they have all the pieces put together to
Become
make their
better
team
than they are?
better than they were before.
Okay. We're going to move on to Cleveland. This is kind of debatable. Their 2017-2018 record was clearly 50-32. They were the fourth seed in this latest playoff run. What I think their record is going to get worse if LeBron leaves, and I believe it's going to be 42-40, or it could be worse than that. But if he stays, they're going to be 58-24. They're going to be a great team if he stays. Mr. Michael, do you have any opinions on this?
Well, I'm going to say the Cavs are going to be 50 wins and 32 losses. About normal, like last year. Maybe one more loss than normal. But if LeBron leaves, they're going to be 45-42, which is going to bring the Cavs down a lot. But if LeBron leaves, I think it's going to be a bad thing for them in a way. but they'll step up and make it the best. The bet. Let's go. Go on.
Okay, and we're gonna move on to Indiana, who had Victor Oladipo as their rising all-star talent this year. Really made their record go up from the way they had it when Paul George was there. I think they were just about the same exact seed, so their records were pretty just alike this year. Their 2017-2018 record was 48-24. 48-34. I'm sorry. I believe that Indiana is going to have the same record. It's not going to be the same exact record, but it's just a loss more. Indiana, I think that they just really didn't pick up any good prospects in this latest draft. So I think they're going to keep the same exact record if Victor Oladipo plays the same way he's been playing all year. And he develops a better game this offseason, and they could get better. I could be wrong. They could become a 50-win, 60-win team this year. We don't know. We just got to depend on Victor Oladipo, to develop as a young player. Do you have any opinions on the Indiana Pacers?
I gotta say the Indiana Pacers are going to end up 49-33. They're going to be a decent team. They're going to fight. I don't know if they're going to make it to the playoffs or not, but I'm pretty sure they're in contention for playoffs.
Okay. We're going to go on to Miami, the 5th seed in this latest draft. This latest playoffs. What am I talking about? Their 2017-2018 record is 44-38. I believe they're going to just about have the same record like most of them because they really didn't make any moves in the draft this year. But their record for 2017-2018 was 44-38. And their record that they're going to have this upcoming year is going to be 45-37. I believe they're going to get a win better as long as they keep Dwayne Wade. Because if Dwayne Wade, he leaves, then it's just going to hurt the Miami Heat badly. He's the focal point of that team as of right now. Even though Goran Dragic did something, he's just the focal point.
I think the Miami Heat are going to end up 41-41.
So you think they're going to be
They're going to go
the
halfway. Team? They're going to be on the edge.
They're an edgy team?
They're an edgy team. They're 41-41.
And we're going to move on to my second favorite team that I like to watch. And that's going to be the Milwaukee Bucks, who in 2017 and 2018 had a 44-38 record. I believe that they're personally going to have a better record picking up Dante DiVincenzo in this latest draft. I believe he's going to come off the bench and he's going to bring an offensive presence and a defensive presence as an underrated defender. And he's going to help them get 5 more wins than they had this past year. And they're going to be 49-33. Mr. Michael, your opinion?
For the Bucks, I think the Bucks are going to be 47-35. I think they're going to be a pretty decent team. I'm giving them a few more L's than they should get. I just think this is the right record for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Right. We're going to move on to the Washington Wizards, who really took a toll off that John Wall injury. When they got injured, they would have definitely had a better record. Their 2017-2018 record was 43-39. I believe they're going to have a better record and getting 9 more wins this year. They're going to be 52-30 because John Wall is going to be back healthy. Him and Bradley Beal, that dynamic duo. That 1 and 2, they're going to be great. Mr. Michael, your opinions?
I think the Washington Wizards are going to be 42-40. They're going to go down a lot. I don't think the Wizards is going to be the NBA Finals material this time. They're not even going to get to the playoffs or anything. They're just going to be horrible.
He's throwing the Wizards under the bus, no doubt.
Sorry, Wizards fans. I just don't think y'all Simmons are going to get anywhere this season.
I think they just got a really good pick in the top 20, I believe. I don't know who it was. I think it was 16 or 17.
But I could be underestimating the Wizards. That's just what I think. That's my opinion.
But let me check that out real quick. Siri, who was the 16th pick in the 2018 NBA draft?
I don't know anything about the draft. Sorry about that.
I'm going to check that out right now.
We're having to deal with Siri. Siri, she has some problems every now and then.
She doesn't help us.
Siri is not a helping person.
But we're going to move on to the Detroit Pistons. In 2017 and 2018, they were 39-34. It personally depends. I can't really make a certain record for the Detroit Pistons because I don't know the moves they're going to make in the offseason. I'm just scared to just make a good statement for the Pistons, because I literally just don't know what moves they're gonna make. They can move Blake Griffin, they can move Andre Drummond, they can move anybody on that team. It can depend. They could get better or worse. I just can't tell you anything. They hired Dwayne Casey. That could make them better. Their coach could make them better as a team. But I just really can't give you a personal opinion on what record I think Detroit's going to have this upcoming year. And we're going to move on to Charlotte. Their 2017-2018 record was 36-46. They didn't make the playoffs this year. They missed it. But Charlotte, they were 36-46. I believe they're going to have a better record from picking up Miles Bridges. Not that good of an outcome, but they're gonna their record that I have predicted for them this year is 40-42, which is not that great. But it could slide them into a spot in the East. You never know. Or it could not. You never know. I just believe that Miles Bridges pickup from them is going to be very good. They're going to find some way to improve from that. And the Hornets are definitely going to be good this year. They're not going to be that great, but I would like to see the Hornets because of Miles Bridges and Kemba Walker. That could be the big dynamic duo in the NBA.
It was kind of sad that Malik Monk wasn't ever drafted by anybody. Did he?
Malik Newman.
I meant Malik Neiman.
But we're going to move on to New York. Their 2017-2018 record was just disgusting. They were 29-53. But I believe they're going to have a better record than they had. They're going to be 38-44, 9 wins better. I believe that Kevin Knox pickup is really going to end up helping the Knicks in the long run. He's going to be a great defender. He's going to be a great offensive player. I believe he's just going to come in and he's going to help the New York Knicks as a whole. We're going to move on to Brooklyn now. Their 2017-2018 record is 28-54. I believe they're going to have a better record. One reason, because D'Angelo Russell missed a lot at the beginning of the season. And he's definitely one of their better players. He can definitely help them get a few wins. I believe they're going to go up just about 7 wins. They're going to be 35-47, not enough to get them in the playoffs, but they're definitely going to make an improvement at that.
I think Brooklyn can get pretty far. They might get to the playoffs, but they could get eliminated like last time. But you never know. It depends.
And we're going to move on to Orlando here, who I think is going to be the best improvement in this Eastern Conference, no doubt. Their 2017-2018 record was 25-57. I believe they're going to have a totally better record by giving them 15 more wins, and they're going to be 40-42 by that draft pick from Mo Bamba. He is just probably the best defender, the best versatile player in this draft. 7'10" wingspan, just a really great player. He's really going to end up helping out Orlando in the long run, and I believe they're going to be a very great team this year to watch. From that big three down low, Jonathan Isaac, Eric Gordon, and Mo Bamba. Any opinions? No opinions on the Orlando Magic. We're going to go down here to the last team, the 15th seed in the Eastern Conference, in the Atlanta Hawks, who were 24-58 in the 2017-2018 season. I believe they're going to have 7 wins better than they had this last year with the picking up of Trae Young. Trae Young is going to help them get a few wins. He's going to, he's going to come with that firepower from distance. He's going to be efficient from behind the arc in the NBA. I believe he's going to be able to find his teammates very well. A few pick and rolls with John Collins, and they're gonna make a good dynamic duo.
I think
like
Atlanta
the John Stockton and Karl Malone one. Do you have any opinions, Mr. Michael?
I think Atlanta could make it to the playoffs, but it depends on what goes on this season.
It could be good for Atlanta, or it could be bad. It just depends.
It could be bad for Atlanta, and it could be good. But I think Atlanta could get to the playoffs, but I'm just...
Looks as if this is probably going to be our longest podcast as we move on to the Western Conference with the first overall seed in the Houston Rockets, who were 65-17 in 2017-2018 season. I believe they're going to have just about the same record. I just give them one loss more. They were 65-17. I'll make them 64-18. That's just because I despise the Rockets and I hope they lose. No hate to you Houston Rocket fans. I just don't like Houston. Forget Houston. And do you have any opinions on Houston? And we're going to move on to my personal favorite team, who I've been liking for since 2009. Monte Ellis, I remember you, baby. Golden State, their 2017-2018 record was 58-24. I believe the only reason why they had that record is because Curry got injured throughout the season with those ankles and that knee injury. KD got injured. Clay got injured because
Everybody
he was
got
dancing.
injured.
We lost one of our best bench players, and Pat McCall, to a lumbosacral spine bruise. It's kind of bad. We lost him for a few months, and that on that bad dunk attempt that he had, and then ended up falling on his back and nearly paralyzing himself. But I believe they're going to be 65-17, the same record as Houston had in the 2017-2018 season. I believe that we're just going to have the best record in the Western Conference, and Golden State's going to end up winning the championship next year.
Yeah, that's right. I can see Golden State going all the way to the finals again. I don't know who they're going to be playing against, but I can see Golden State going all the way again this year.
But as we move on to the third seed in the playoffs this past year, the Portland Trail Blazers, their 2017-2018 record was 49-33. I believe their record is going to get worse. I think the Trail Blazers just don't have it going with C.J. McCollum and Damian Lillard. They're just not going to get anywhere. They're going to be 41-41 this year. They're going to be an edgy team trying to get into the playoffs. It depends on how the Western Conference plays out this year. I just don't think Portland has it. I think they should just send C.J. McCollum away or send D. Lil away. I just don't think that Portland has enough in the tank to get to the Western Conference Finals. Any opinions? And we're going to move on to OKC, which is also very debatable. Their 2017-2018 record was 48-34. I believe they're going to have a worse record if PG leaves. I say they're going to be 41-41 because they no doubt have Russell Westbrook. And if he stays, they're going to be 50-32. They're still not going to be that great of a team if PG stays, because the only way they're going to be good is if they create some type of chemistry between the three, between him, Carmelo Anthony, and Russell Westbrook. They got to do something this offseason or PG's leaving. And do you have any opinions on OKC, Mr. Michael? Okay, well, we're going to move on to Utah here, who was the 5th seed in this past playoff run as they defeated OKC in the first round and ended up losing in the second round to Houston. They were 48-34 this past season. I think they're going to get better, but not that much better. They're going to be 51-31 because of the help of Grayson Allen and Donovan Mitchell as growing athletes. I think they're both going to do great for the Utah Jazz, and they're going to come in and they're going to bring that offensive intensity, and they're going to bring defensive intensity on the other side. They're going to bring both offense and defense, and it's going to end up helping the Utah Jazz in the long run, and they're going to be one of the better teams in the West next year. Any opinions? As we move on to New Orleans, who I think is going to be a better team next year because they're going to have Boogie for the whole season, I hope. Lord Jesus, I do hope.
I can see them getting to the playoffs, definitely.
They got to the playoffs this year without Boogie, so I think they're going to be way better. But their past record was 48-34, same as the Utah Jazz. I believe they're going to get better. I say about 5 wins better, 53-29. It could be better than that if Boogie, just brings it this year. He loses a lot of weight. He just becomes a big defensive presence down low. He's not as lazy as he used to be coming off this injury. I believe that they're going to be a great team if Boogie, can make a life for himself down there in that post. And, he's able to stretch the floor and, being able to shoot threes as a big. If he can do that, then that's going to help New Orleans out a lot. And they're going to end up, getting to the Western Conference Finals one of these years.
I can see them getting further than they did last year.
Yeah, I definitely can
see
too.
it.
But we beat them, so that's probably why they didn't get that far. And we're going to – do you have any opinions on New Orleans?
All I can say is go New Orleans fans.
San Antonio, very debatable because this is probably one of the debatable things that's probably going on this offseason. And the best player in free agency, well, not the second best player in free agency this year, in Kawhi Leonard. Their record was 47-35. San Antonio's was this past season. I believe they're gonna have a worse record if he leaves. I believe it's gonna be worse than what I have it predicted. It's gonna be 44-40. If he leaves, I believe it's probably gonna be worse than that. That's just a prediction I'm making. Or if he stays, it's going to be 55-27. But I kind of don't see Kawhi staying. I just don't see he has the fit for this team anymore. He's ready to move on and make his life. He's going to make a life for himself and some other franchise and get them a championship.
Kawhi to the Lakers, baby.
No, I don't want that to happen.
I just think y'all know about that.
And do you have any opinions on San Antonio? We're gonna move on to Minnesota here, who I believe was they just slipped right into the playoffs. Their record was 47-35 this past season. I believe they're just gonna have a better record overall. It's gonna be 49-33. They're not gonna be that much better because they really didn't make that many moves in the draft this year. Karl-Anthony Towns could be leaving this offseason. Come to the Warriors, cat. Y'all didn't hear that. I believe they can get better if they all can develop a chemistry this offseason. If Jimmy Butler, I heard Jimmy Butler really doesn't want Andrew Wiggins on the team, so we could potentially be seeing an Andrew Wiggins trade this offseason, and it could bring in somebody special because I know Andrew Wiggins has a lot of trade value being the first overall pick in 2014. But we're going to move on to the last 7 picks, the last 7 teams that I have predicted. And we have Denver coming up next with the 9th seed. They were 46-36. They were really good. I just don't see why they didn't make the playoffs. It's just the Western Conference is so good. Denver was 46-36, like I just said. But if MPJ plays, they're going to be better. They're going to be 5 wins better, matter of fact. They're going to be 51-31. MPJ can potentially be the steal of the draft, but as I've heard, he might not play this year. I'm going to be kind of sad if he doesn't play this year. But if he doesn't play, I don't think they're probably just going to have about the same record. Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, Paul Millsap, they're going to do their thing, and they're going to try to get to the playoffs this year. I hope they do. But next we're going to move on to the Los Angeles Clippers, who I thought had a decent season for what they have on their roster. But I believe they're going to get a little bit better. Their record was 42-40. I believe they're going to be 44-38 with the picking ups of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jerome Robinson. It's going to help them out a little bit. Jerome Robinson coming off the bench behind Avery Bradley. He can definitely bring some help on the defensive side, and he's also very efficient. Jerome Robinson is. I believe he's going to bring a lot of heat off the bench with Lou Williams, I believe Jerome Robinson could potentially play the 1 off the bench. It'd be nice to see. I'm ready to just see the Los Angeles Clippers play and Jerome Robinson and Shai Gilgeous play. I believe that Los Angeles Clippers team is going to be very special this year. And do you have any opinions on the Clippers? We're going to move on to the Los Angeles Lakers. This could really depend on if they pick up LeBron or PG or Kawhi. There's just a lot of Lakers talkings that I hear.
It just looks like I think the record's
They're
gonna be better.
35-47. Better, but not much better, though. If they don't pick up anybody, they're going to be 39-43 if they don't pick up any of those free agents that I just talked about because of the helpings of Mo Wagner. I don't think they're going to be that much better than they were this year if they don't pick up any free agent in free agency. They need to pick up somebody, or the Los Angeles Lakers are just going to be sitting at the bottom of the Western Conference again.
The Warrior fans just want to down the LA Lakers fans. I just don't know why.
I just don't see the Lakers being a better team if they don't pick up any free agents. Their team's just young. It's going to take a while for the Los Angeles Lakers team to develop. But if you give the Los Angeles Lakers a few years and you give Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball and Kyle Kuzma and you give all those players enough time to, develop and make a better life for themselves in the NBA, I believe the Los Angeles Lakers could be a playoff team in a few years if you give those if you give those players a good enough time to develop and give them enough time to, make a life for themselves in this NBA. And then the Lakers could be a very ferocious team coming into the playoffs a few years from now.
But I can see the Lakers going to the playoffs this time. It's just my opinion. Because this is my team, favorite team right here.
No.
Yeah.
The Lakers are not making it to the playoffs this year.
We're
going to move on to Sacramento now, who was 27-25 this past season. I believe they're going to be a little bit better picking up those few players. I think Wenyen Gabriel is also going to be joining the team in the Summer League. But Sacramento's going to get better because of the picking of Marvin Bagley in the latest draft. They're going to be 36-46 this year. Ali is going to be a dynamic duo between De'Aaron and Marvin. That's going to be magical to see. I'm going to love to see those two play. Any opinions on Sacramento? And we're going to move on to Dallas, who is 24-58 this year. I believe Luka is going to help them a lot. If Dirk stays this year, he's going to develop that youngin' like it's nothing. Luka Doncic, he's going to be a great player for the Dallas Mavericks. They're going to have somewhat of a sleeper team this year. This is my sleeper team. But I believe that Dallas might end up making the playoffs this year. I know that's kind of a black horse type thing. Well, I don't know what to call it. Dark horse. It's a dark horse. It's a dark horse hope that I hope Dallas makes the playoffs this year. I just want to see Luka Doncic in the playoffs. I want to see how he plays in the NBA. I'm just ready for Luka Doncic altogether. Any opinions on Dallas, Michael? As we're moving on to the last two teams, Memphis was 22-60 this past season. I see them a lot better this year because they really lost Mike Conley. I think he nearly missed 62 games in the season, 62 or 65. So they went 22-60 this year. I believe they're going to be 50-32 next year, and Memphis is most definitely going to make the playoffs. It's really just going to be amazing getting to watch Mike Conley and Marc Gasol go back at it as teammates. So they got Tyreke Evans and Dillon Brooks, too young. Tyreke Evans is getting kind of old now, but with Dillon Brooks, he's still uprising as a young kid, and he's making his way in the NBA. I believe Memphis is going to be a playoff team this year. They're probably not going to make it far in the playoffs, but I give them some hope in making it to the playoffs altogether. Any opinions in Memphis? Okay, and we're going to move on to the last team who I think is going to blow up this year. The worst team in the NBA, the Phoenix Suns this past year. They got the first overall pick in DeAndre Ayton, and then ended up getting Mikal Bridges from the Suns for Kyrie Thomas and some first rounder in 2021, I believe. I believe they're going to be better this year by 20 wins. They're going to be a 41-41 team this year. I see them edging into the playoffs. I don't see them making it into the playoffs this year, but I see them edging into the playoffs. It's going to be like a ninth. I believe it's going to be like an 8th, 9th, and 10th seed fight to see who gets into the playoffs this year. But I'm glad you guys are going to listen into the podcast and, really enjoy what we've been talking about in these past 4 podcasts. And I really thank Mr. Michael for coming back out again on the 3rd podcast straight and, just putting in his predictions also and, really helping out today as I did this podcast. Thank you, Mr. Michael.
Thank you. It was a great
talk.
Great episode today.
But, guys, I'm glad y'all came out to listen to the podcast. Once again, I'm Chris, the NBA lover. Like always, keep God first. Keep Him in your blessings. Keep everybody in your blessings. Anybody that's going through problems.
Live life like it's your last day.
Live life like it's your last day. And once again, this is Chris, the NBA lover, and peace out.